Joining us now, well, is retired DEA agent Derek Maltz, and he was among the very first to actually start raising the alarm and the cry about the deadly fentanyl invasion of this country. And everything he said has come true. Hundreds of thousands of Americans dying over the past few years. Derek, great to have you with us on Lou Dobbs Tonight. Good to see you.
Thank you, Lou.
Thank you. Let's start with where we are right now. We've been talking about this for years, and we are watching this administration callously, without regard for decency and life of American citizens, tolerate I guess that they see it as the collateral damage of more than 100,000 Americans every year being killed by deadly drugs, especially fentanyl.
100%. I mean, just look at the breaking news today. They're now coming out with toxicology report on the 3 Kansas City Chiefs fans that were found frozen to death in the backyard of their friend's house because they had fentanyl, cocaine, and THC in their body. It was no mystery to me. I mean, we knew right away. We have mass poisonings all over America, Lou, on a daily or weekly basis.
And the people reading the news, watching the news, listening to it, they knew within, I would guess, a matter of hours what it was likely to kill those 3 young men. I think all of them in their 30s. This is beyond stupid. These weren't homeless people. These were work a day, good American citizens, a part of our middle class, and there they are with all of these drugs in their system. It's just sickening to think what we have allowed the Marxists, who will not defend the border, who will not try to fight deadly drugs and the Mexican drug cartels. This administration, Joe Biden has turned that border over to the Mexican drug cartels. There's no U.S. authority or law enforcement agency that can hold a candle to the awesome power of those drug cartels right now because of what Joe Biden has done. And nobody talks about it. No one wants to whisper it even.
Right. So you have historic fentanyl deaths. You have historic fentanyl seizures, both at the border and in the country. We have the production off the charts in Mexico. We have the Chinese relationship with the cartels. We have the profits at historic levels. We have the largest human trafficking, sex trafficking operation ever. And now to top it off, Lou, you have the director of the FBI that's been very public about the national security threat of China, but yet we're letting in thousands of Chinese nationals illegally crossing into the country, and that is setting up marijuana grow operations all over the country, and they're laundering all the money. They're buying properties in America at record levels. They're establishing counterintelligence operations. It's like so counterintuitive. Your FBI director's telling everyone how dangerous this is, but yet the current administration reversed all the policies that President Trump put into place that were actually keeping these people out.
Yeah, I think about over the last several decades, going back to the early 90s, we knew in this country that there were an extraordinary number of Chinese communist front companies stealing. They were not stealing as much as they are now, but the theft of intellectual property, military secrets, advanced technology, $600 billion a year, and no one has stopped it. Christopher Wray went on 60 Minutes and with some other heads of, police, state agencies in other countries, and they talk the same nonsense, but they do nothing. The man is a fraud. I mean, people have to understand that he's a fraud. He's not doing anything about the cartels. He's not doing anything about China. And they are having their way with this country right now. And the fentanyl deaths in this country, you mentioned China, they have to have those Chinese ingredients, those precursors, in order to make fentanyl. And here's Biden sending his officials over to Beijing to beg at their feet to reduce the amount of fentanyl, to reduce it, not end it. This is a sick group of people in this administration, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, Lou, just think about this. Right now, the Chinese are in a second third, fourth phase of attacking us with chemical weapons. We're seeing the nitazines now, etonitazine, isonitazine, protonitazine, metonitazine. They're more powerful than fentanyl, like 20, 30 times more powerful. We're seeing xylazine in all the states in America. It's causing the necrosis of human tissue, rotten people from inside out, right on the streets of America. And this is coming, and it's established in these Chinese labs, and people are buying stuff that's being shipped to the country at levels we've never seen. And they're not even talking about this. It goes back to those fans in Kansas City. Like, nobody's even been giving a warning by our government. They're not talking about it enough. It's really sad. CDC is a disaster. We can't get stats. We can't get any kind of like timeliness on this stuff. We can't get Department of Education to teach our kids. And it's really, really sad. That's why I'm trying like hell now to see if we can get Travis Kelce and Swifty there to speak out to all their fans about the dangers of fentanyl, because we got to get some social media messaging. You would think the government would do that, but they're not.
Well, I'd like them to walk into the White House and tell Joe Biden exactly where he can go, and all of the creep collaborators with the Mexican drug cartels who are destroying this nation. I wouldn't waste my time on a public service
let me
announcement.
just tell you, one thing I'm going to tell you about, though, because I don't think you know this. I was in Jamaica in September for the largest ever in the history of DEA International Drug Enforcement Conference. Guess what country didn't show up? Mexico. So why the hell are we giving them all this money, and why are we begging them to be cooperative? Why are we not shutting off the money that we give them every year? They didn't show up to the conference DEA hosted, which is the biggest one in the history of law enforcement on drugs, and they're the number one partner we need, and they didn't show up. 130.
At least the Mexico's being honest about it. They mean to tear this country up. The Mexican drug cartels run Mexico. It wouldn't be in their interest to go to the DEA.
That's true.
Confab. And by the way, again, they own everything. They own the border, and they own this government. And there's no other explanation for Joe Biden other than he's bought and paid for by the cartels. Otherwise, why would he do what he has done?
And China too.
It's great to talk with you.
I'm saying,
yeah, China too. China. Well, yes, he's already. What he's done is he's sold off shares in the Biden brand. And you're right. Probably that China has a greater number of shares in the ownership of the Joe Biden enterprise. But Mexico's got enough to keep those cartels humming with billions of dollars every few months. Derek, great to have you with us. Thanks so much. Come back soon. Appreciate it. Derek Maltz.